Today we're going to talk about solving and graphing one-step inequalities. This is what goes in your table of contents. I can solve and graph one-step inequalities with one variable. Again, a variable is that letter that's representing the unknown number that we don't know we're trying to find. What are inequalities? Inequalities are used to tell us the relative size of two values. Relative means close to, they're related, okay? So it could be this or it could be this, but they're close to different things. So inequalities means we don't necessarily find the exact answer, but we get close. So there are some symbols that we're going to need to learn. So in your notes here, you're going to be adding some symbols to these different parts, okay? So the symbol for greater than or equal to. And this is where we're talking about like the alligator mouth. So your alligator mouth is going to be eating to the left, and there's a line underneath because this line underneath is half of an equal sign. And then it could be equal, but it also could be greater than the number that we get. When you use this symbol, you're going to go to the right and close a circle on the number line, and we're going to talk about this. The next one is less than or equal to. Well, if greater than or equal to is open to the left here, eating the first number, then less than is going to eat the second number. So our alligator mouth is facing the opposite way. Remember, we're putting the half of the equal sign to show that it could possibly be the same. It just might also be less than. Greater than will not have the line underneath it. It'll just be the alligator mouth pointing that way. And on the number line, sorry, I forgot to say, you would go left and close the dot. Then on this one, you would go right again because it's greater than, but this time it would be open to show that it would not include it. And we'll talk about that more. And then less than is left and open. So if this is greater than, then less than is eating the second number. Okay, do not forget that if you are dividing or multiplying by a negative, that the inequality sign flips. So this is only for dividing and multiplying by a negative. So this less than could become greater than. This is a very important rule that you're going to have to memorize, okay? When you're dividing or multiplying a negative, it has to be a negative. If it's a positive, it doesn't matter, it stays the same. But if you're doing a negative, it must change the inequality symbol. So let's do some practice of these. X minus 8 is greater than or equal to, there's our greater than or equal to symbol, negative 10. So let's see. These are one-step inequalities, so that tells us there's only one thing we have to do to get x by itself. I hope you guys remember what we have to do. Just think of this like an equal sign. What did we do before? Well, we got rid of whatever was on the same side of the x. So what is the inverse operation of minus 8? It would be adding 8. So once we do that, a negative plus a positive of the same number cancels out and becomes 0. X is greater than or less than, we bring down the symbol, and negative 10 plus 8. Well, we keep the sign of the larger number, which is negative, and we subtract, and we get 2. So negative 2. Now, how do we graph this? This is new for us. X has to be, so whatever this number is, has to be greater than or equal to negative 2. Greater than or equal to. If I was at negative 2, how would I get a bigger number, greater than? Would I go to the left? No, those are smaller numbers. I would go to the right on the number line, and that's why it's saying right, and then closed, I'm going to show you right now. So we're going to put a circle at negative 2. I'm going to close that circle because that tells me that the answer could be negative 2, but it could also be greater than negative 2. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow that number line, and I'm just making it a really thick line to make sure that you guys can see. And then I'm going to put my arrow because it means it could keep going. Is 55 greater than -2? Yeah, so I'm gonna put an arrow to show that it can keep going. So let's just look at this and see. Is -2 greater than or equal to -2? Yeah, -2 is equal to -2. Let's try 2. Is a +2 greater than or equal to -2? Yeah, it's greater than -2. So we're going the right way. So let's try another one. Number 2. -8 times x is less than 24. So our answer has to be less than 24. So the only thing I need to do here is get x by itself. Right now it's multiplying by -8. So I'm gonna divide by -8. A -8 divided by -8 is a +1 because 2 negatives cancel, and the answer is x. Now, here's a rule. I am dividing by a negative, so my sign has to change. So I am going to flip the sign. Instead of being less than, it is now going to be greater than. And then 24 divided by -8 is -3. So let's put ours on the graph, and then we're going to talk about it and check it and make sure we got it right. So I need to find the -3. I'm going to put an open dot at the -3, and I'm going to keep it open to show that my answer cannot be -3. Is -3 greater than -3? No, -3 is -3. So it cannot be -3. So that's why I'm leaving it open. Now, x has to be greater than -3, which means I need to go to the right on my number line to find a greater number than -3. And I'm just making it kind of thicker just so that you guys can see. And I'm gonna put my arrow because remember, I could have 85 over here. Is 85 greater than -3? Yes, it sure is. Is 0 greater than -3? Yes. So let's plug in a number. Let's put 2 where x is. What's -8 times a +2? Well, it's -16. Is -16 less than 24? Yes, it sure is. So this works. We're good. Let's look at the third one. Now, I see a fraction, which tells me we're going to have to do the reciprocal, which means flipped. So we are going to be multiplying negative, because it's a negative, we want x to be positive, 3/2, because we're doing the flipped version, the reciprocal. So let's go ahead, and again, we have to do it to the other side too, -3/2. All right, so let's go ahead. 3 times 2 is 6, 2 times 3 is 6. 6/6 is 1, and 2 negatives makes it a positive, so good, we've got x left on this side. Now, I'm multiplying by a negative, so I have to flip my symbol. So this is gonna be flipped, and instead of being greater than, it's gonna go to less than. And then 4, remember every number has that invisible 1 to make it a fraction. 4 times a -3, 4 times 3 is 12. 1 times 2 is 2, and it's negative because 1 negative times a positive. Now, hopefully you're seeing here that -12/2 is the same as saying -6. So x, I'm gonna just cross it out so we don't get confused. X is less than -6. So let's find the -6 on the number line. Less than, we need to find a number for x that could be less than -6. Well, the only way to get less is to go to the left. And because it is not equal to, I'm gonna leave my circle open. And don't forget your arrow at the end, because we could have -15 is less than -6. -100 is less than -6. So let's go ahead and look and see if we have any surprises on here. So number 1 should be okay. Oh, look at number 2. What does it mean when there's no number in front of the variable? Remember, that's the same as saying -1x. It's the same thing. There's just one x. So think of it as a 1 in front of it. And then don't forget to do the reciprocal here. All right, good luck.